Hey guys, welcome to Coding Kicks. Today we are starting with a very fun project. As you already know about the game Rock Paper Scissors, we are going to develop in Golang and we'll be clearing basics alongside. So here I'm creating a new directory Rock Paper Scissors on my desktop and I will be using Microsoft's Visual Code Editor. Okay, so you can use any other code editor or IDE. I suggest you to use either JetBrains Golang or use the same editor whichever I'm using, Visual Studio Go by Microsoft. Okay, just create a main.go file. This is our starting point, and every Go file is starting with a package. So package actually contains one or more Go files. It is similar to packages in any other languages or modules, you can say. In Go, packages are the starting point of the file, and after that we can import any other packages in our program. So like as you can see, I'm defining a function main and I'm using a package named as FMT. FMT is a code library package whose purpose is various IO tasks. You'll see much deeper in subsequent tutorials. As I'm using FMT to just print out the string on our terminal. So to run this program, we'll be using a command named as go run and file name. So this go run will compile the source code and link it with the libraries that runs the executable file. So as you can see, this program prints out hello world on our screen. We can also use backtick, as you can see I've used, and the backtick is for declaring string literals. It makes it so you can have quotes and new lines and they are interpreted literally rather than breaking the string. So we can have any character inside that. So now we'll be creating a banner for our game. Just go to ASCII-Art-Generator.org, click on text to ASCII art generator and type whatever the name you want and just copy paste these characters and paste it inside the print statement. I'm using new lines, adding new lines, and first line is a little bit moved, so I just press shift tab and make it as good as possible. Okay, let's take user input now. We'll be asking user from to enter his name. I'll be using Buffio package to take user input. I'm creating a variable named as reader. Wait, let's check variables first. So in Go, variables are explicitly declared. And here I'm declaring a variable by using a var keyword. Var keyword, the variable name and the type of the variable. Then I'm assigning a value to that variable. In this case, I'm assigning a coding kicks string. So in Go, we have this colon equal to syntax. That is a shorthand for declaring and initializing a variable at the same time. And in Go, we can't use variables after declaring. We need to use that variable or compiler will throw error. As you can see, this red wiggle line came. So this prints out coding kicks in the terminal. So I'm using a Buffio package which implements buffered IO. As you can see, my editor automatically imported this package in the code by use of this extension Go, and you can download it by going into the extension tab. So back to the reader Buffio package, which contains a function named as new reader, which takes IO reader as a parameter value. This is also suggested by Visual Studio Code. You can check it out. So here I'm using a OS package to attach a standard input to that reader, and this reader has a function named as read string, which returns two values. First is string and second is error. So we'll be using the string for now. And if we wanted to ignore something, we can directly add that underscore to that variable. Let's print out. And this FMT package is a format template. So this has different functions. So we are not using printf functions, which is similar to C printf statement. So we can use percent symbol in it, and percent %f means string. So I'm passing two strings after that and new line character. So now it starts with the loop. Go has only one looping construct, the for loop. So for loop is infinite loop. There is no increment and no post operation. It goes forever, as you can see. I have to press Control C to stop it. So just simply enter your name and it goes forever. So normal for loop has three statements: init statement, condition statement, and post statement. Now I'm just including condition statement, so it becomes similar to while loop in other programming language. I'm using the same printf statements to print out. So after running this program, it goes forever because I forgot to add increment. I forgot to increment this I value. And we can comment in Golang by using two forward slashes, or we can use a Visual Studio Code to effectively commenting like I did. And here's the full loop, which will print, which will start from 7 and till it's equal to 9. And each iteration it will increment 1. As you can see, it's printed out 7, 8, 9. So for loop has two more statements, like break to stop this for loop whenever we want, and we will have one more statement like continue, which will skip the current iteration instead of breaking the full for loop. Is an example of continue statement. So n modulo 2, which is equal to 0. So if anything is divisible by 2, then it will not print it out on the terminal. As you can see, it prints 1, 3, 5 only. That's all for loops. So here I am creating a infinite loop so that our game should not ever end without asking user input. Now we need to give some instructions to user. So I'm just simply printing instructions, just like press S to start, press E to exit, and press V to view the current score. Then again we need to take user input. Again we have to use Buffio package for that, and this time we need only a character from user. And in Golang we actually use Unicode strings, so we need to take a rune, which is simply a Unicode code point, and for now just think of it as a character only. So this reader function contains one more functions, which is known as read rune, and this read rune functions returns three values: character, then the size of the string, and error. And if we don't want any other variable in our string, we can name this as underscore. So compiler will ignore that variables. Now we are checking that if any error came in in between in this read rune function. So if any error came, I'm just simply printing that string, and if error came, then uh, I'll be exiting from the loop. So here I'm using a switch case. Switch case is simply as a, you can say, a shorter way to write a sequence of if else statements. It runs the first case whose value is equal to the condition expression. So as in our case, um, whatever the character user passes, we're just checking that character, and if user press S, then it will go into the game string. If user press E, then I'm going into the exiting. Let me format for V. So our format is something like that: username, then the user score, and don't worry about this player score and computer score. I will define it just in a second. So our string is like player name, player score, computer score, and then computer name. On the top, I have defined two global variables so that we can use those values in everywhere. Here's my global variables with the type integer. Let's add new lines before and after two new lines, and run our program. Just type go run main.go, typing my name, then simply press S, game starting, E exiting. Here in the score, we can see one problem. So as a name took whole line at the terminal, we can solve this problem by replacing /n in our string. So to replace, we need a string package which contains replace function, and this function takes string, then old string, new string, and the integer n. So n is first non-overlapping instance. So here I wanted to replace n with the for \n with the blank keyword. Now just instead of coding kicks, I'll just type ck, and yep, it's in same line. So now for exit, I'll be using a OS package which contains exit function. One is like status code, which will be written by our application. Typing my name, then pressing E will exit our application. Okay, so now let's create a function for printing instead of just printing the switch statement. I'm just copy pasting that print command and taking a name parameter which will be a string type. Now we need one more function, so I'll just call it as start game. We don't need any parameter for this for now. I just copy pasted some commands to save time, and as you can see, we can also use Unicode characters, so we can use emoticons also. And now we need to take again the user input, so I'm just copy pasting the same thing. So we need to call this start game in whenever the user presses S, and let's verify real quick in the terminal. Enter name, typing R. Yep, we got the real value. So to get the character value, we need to convert it into a string. Just enclose into the string. Okay, now we need computer choice. So for that, I'm creating a one function, get computer choice. This function will return a rune value. Here we need to create a array of values. So to create an array, we'll just type the length of the array and the type of the array and the values which I'm going to use, which is R, S, and P. R is simply for rock, P and paper, and S for scissor. So I'm calling a random function, random package, which contains a library called intn function, which will return a random value between the length I'm providing it. So I'm providing a length of choices, so it will be 3 only. Here my compiler is throwing error because your user choice I haven't used anywhere, and we can see the terminal prints two values, two number, two rune values. I'm adding computer choice, so that we can see what computer is choosing. Again the value, so we need to convert it in a string. Now we have one more problem, like it says R, computer chooses R, P and S, and that we don't want. We want proper words, whatever he wants. So in map is similar to dictionaries in Python. If you're coming from Python, it's just a key value pairs. So to define a map, we just need to define the type of the key and the type of the value, and the same values as we provided for array. Let's learn more about maps in new file. I'm creating a new file called test.go, and I'll just copy paste the same statement of maps which we used earlier in the code. And to print out this is just simply a key value pair. So if we wanted to access a value, we just need to type in square brackets the key name, which in our case is R. So one more thing to notice is that we don't need parentheses if we are importing only one package. And in Golang, as I told earlier, the Golang starts executing program from main function. So we need to define a main function, and it's my code editor is throwing error that main is already defined in the same package. So we need to comment old code. And as you can see, it prints out the rock value and P prints out the paper value. Yeah. Now let's comment the test.go, and let's make it little pretty. Now we actually need a decider function which will decide who wins. So for now, we'll define a function named as results, and we need to pass two parameters. One is user choice and second is computer choice, and these both of these parameters are rune type. So we'll define this function as function parameters as rune only. Okay, so for our logic, we'll combine both of these functions into a one string and make the use of switch statements to decide like who wins or who not. So winning will just tell the function that this is users winning conditions and this is computers winning condition, or vice versa. So as you can see, the first RS means rock Caesar. So first one character is users and second one is computers. So we can make the use of switch statements. Now with this switch, let me grab this switch statement from my old code. Now as you can see, I've defined RS means rock Caesar, paper rock, SP means Caesar paper. So these are all winning condition. So I just printed out simple values. Let's quickly run this program. Yep, I lost. By pressing V, we can view the score. The game is starting. Match draws. This is fine. What we can do in our program now? Okay, after winning game, let's print out the results also. We don't need this condition. This print statement that game is starting, and that's a default condition also. So what I mean by this is like that uh, when user types something else, it should return something that user entered the wrong password, wrong field or something. So triple L should not work. So wrong input, try again. What else we can do? I think everything is pretty much fine. Let's run our game. Okay, I lost. Match draws. Caesar, I lost. Is there something wrong in my code or my luck runs out? Let's quickly verify these results. Computer chooses Caesar, computer chooses rock. Everything's fine. Yeah, it worked. That's all guys for this tutorial. In future, I'll make this game online. Like we can play over the internet also. That's all. Thanks.